92, 91, 90, 89, 88,
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
87.
the podcast. Shut up. Today we are discussing. We're going to be doing an episode by episode, weekly breakdown of the new show American Gods that's on Stars. I'm currently reading the book as we go through, so I hope I can offer some insights. Telling you right out from the beginning, we are going to go in depth, so spoilers are ahead. If you want to wait, you can come back and watch it after you've seen the episode. And that I won't spoil anything from the book because you guys haven't read it, obviously, and are watching it. So I won't go that into detail, but if I could offer some insight onto what's going on, that's what I'll do. Let me get a little better lighting here. Nason, you got a professional light over there?
No, it's a lamp.
Looks great. Well, that's professional.
A lamp.
It's a lamp with a light bulb in it.
It's a lamp. I love lamp.
All right. Well, American Gods is a novel written in what year? Do we know?
I guess you can consider it to be our contemporary time, but there are gods in it, so you have to, I guess, rearrange these people as to what their affiliation is, and they can have their own age, but a lot of them don't have an age. So, for an example, Matt Sweeney's probably around 3,000 years old.
Right.
But like Turner Bog or Mr. Wednesday, they're not going to have an age. They're just going to be affiliation old gods.
Right. So Neil Gaiman wrote this book back how many years ago? Whatever.
2001, it looks like.
2001. Okay. So in 2001, Neil Gaiman wrote this book. So this is actually my first book that I've ever read by Neil. I have read some. I dabbled in some Sandman. Couldn't really get into it because of the artwork being old, and I know there's a remastered one, but I've never seen that one. But anyway, I am reading the book. I'm loving it. I think his writing is incredible, and I did start reading it because of the show debuting. So I thought, so episode 1. So we find, let's start from the beginning. So
yeah, the beginning. Coming to America, beginning. Yeah.
Coming to America. Well, that is, well, you could take that one with the.
All right. Well, basically, we had the Vikings finding America after having a pretty rough trip to get there. And once they got there, they found out they weren't going to be able to move forward. And once they were already low on rations, and they decided that they'd have to have their only option become, let's leave. But there was no wind, so they had to do some tributes and sacrifices to, I guess, what would be Odin.
Odin, yep.
And to be able to get the wind going. And it turned into this kind of like amusing short where they had to fight each other. They were poking out each other's eyes with hot swords.
Yeah, burned like man alive.
And some of the stuff was really over the top. And like, I guess I expected
a lot of blood.
The blood from Brian Fuller, who had done Hannibal. But like with Michael Green and Brian Fuller working on this, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I absolutely adore Hannibal as a series. And I saw Logan, which is what Michael Green did, in theaters, and I like that too. So I guess they want to start every episode with the coming to America kind of theme. So anyway, they were able to leave. They buried their god while they were there. The ones that survived. And I guess 100 years later, it's the actual discovery of America. Well, Leif Erikson would happen, but nobody knows that like this happened like maybe 100 years before that. And that was probably our intro and the example of how there are gods and they need to be worshipped.
Right. And see, this is why I let you take it. I knew you'd go get into it. In the book, there is little excerpts in between the chapters of these coming to America parts that just give a little more into the gods, coming to America. We're actually like leading up to them coming as it looks now. I don't know where it's going to go. Like I said, I'm probably like 45% through, but that's what I think it's going. It's showing the lead up or what they their past life. You know what I mean?
I didn't really pick up on that. Now I know we're 2 episodes in. This is episode 1, and the first one, that's pretty cool. So that's some good insight. I didn't know that like this was their arrival. I guess when we do the episode 2 and we do the next coming to America with the god, now I see what you're saying. So
Yeah, they have like little things. I guess it's showing like their past life, and that's what uh uh it's showing. Yeah, like I said, them coming with probably showing like the Leif Erikson thing and all that.
I like the guy who got riddled with arrows. In fact, not one arrow missed him. They all landed. And then as he fell over, like one hit him in the foot. That was very amusing.
That's like similar. Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say it's like similar to like in a video game when it's like an open world one where you just walk into like the wall and you can't go any further.
Yeah.
Except with arrows and the guy dying.
Except with arrows. It was a volley. It was so precise that every single arrow that was shot not only landed on this human's like biped shape of form, and, like as he was falling, they got him in the foot. The other like more memorable scene during their battle when they were fighting each other was a severed arm flying through the air, already holding a sword, which like
that was awesome.
Landed through someone's like
somebody else,
yeah. Like the sheer force for that to be able to even happen. Like we're talking about like car crash stuff, but hey, it was amusing.
Yeah, it was cool. I appreciated it.
Yeah, we started the I guess the story after that, and Shadow Moon was in jail. His name is terrible. They actually referenced it as Moon Shadow, which was a song in the 60s or 70s. I believe it was by Van Morrison. I didn't like the story. I didn't like episode 1. The Viking stuff was great. The rest of it I thought was terrible. I don't know why I didn't like episode 1 at all. I just didn't. Halfway through it, I'm like, oh my god, how many more episodes of this do I have to watch? You guys can tell me what you thought about episode 1?
Yeah, I mean, you had Seftimor.
All right. Well, we start off in the prison. Shadow Moon has been in prison for I guess assault, right? Assault and battery on someone.
Yeah.
He was in prison for 6 years. He served out 3 of them, and he was getting out in a few days, but they released him early because his wife Laura has died in a car crash. And when he's leaving, he goes out, misses a flight, which I like that flashback, I guess because of the book, but like I really thought that flashback was cool when they're like when he's getting mad at the flight attendant.
Oh, and he had a buddy on the inside, and the guy's like, "This is why you don't get mad at these flight attendants, because this can happen and that can happen."
He tells the story of an inmate that got out, and it was his first day, and he goes there and he gets in a fight with the flight attendant. She hits the button, and all the cops come. He goes right back to jail.
He's back in jail. So he used that type of the story or like lesson that he learned to be able to control himself. And
the dude's name was Low Key, too. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm like, is it supposed to be a reference to Low Key from like the Northern Norse gods?
Which I thought was cool.
Because as soon as we heard that his name,
I had to interrupt about Loki.
No, that's fine. No, yeah. I heard that his name was Low Key. Was he placed there on purpose? Now that we know that, I mean, he is like very mischievous.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be something that we get to see later on. The Mr. Wednesday. The Wednesday alone was like that reference towards
Wotan.
Wotan with a W. Later on in the series, Chernobog will refer to him as Wotan, but it also could be confused as Wotan because I don't know why I had the subtitles on, and that's like
it's the Germanian pronunciation.
Yeah, it's the Anglo-Saxon West Germanic tradition of the Norse deity.
Wotan.
Right.
And that's just like this is Woden, Wotan, or also transcribed as Wotan. It's another name for Odin.
Well, that's funny because later, you meet Mad Sweeney, but this is irrelevant right now. But like Mad Sweeney calls him Grimnir later on.
Okay.
And it's funny because my buddy, he said that one of the things that he loved reading about the book, it's one of his favorite books, and he loved it because he saw all these different names, and when he would like highlight in his Kindle or look it up on Wikipedia, he would see like, oh, this is another part of Odin. This is another thing about Odin, or something like that. So he liked all those little references that Neil put in. He really researched his gods.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm into that type of theology, mythology as much as anyone else could be. I like it a lot, and I know that you shared the same sentiment, Pat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a total nerd for just any kind. I think the only thing I paid attention to in high school was history and mythology, and just like kind of going through the first episode and seeing the different gods was amazing. And of course, the Norse ones are my favorite. So the fact that like Odin is the one going around gathering doing whatever he's trying to do, without going too crazy and in depth in episode 1. But it was just awesome to see. So that's what really sold me, because the episode, it goes all over the place.
It really does, though. I have a problem with
it. That's where I could see, like, I agree that the first one was kind of tough. Like, just going back to what Seftimor was saying, he's released from prison and everything, but it was so, like, it was so, if you hadn't read the book, it's so jostling to see, like, the Vikings, and then boom, like, bam, current day, here's a dude in prison and his wife.
I could see that.
Yeah, and it gets so, like, to me, it seemed like it got so centered on like, just him. It turned from Vikings killing each other to a guy mourning his dead wife who was actually cheating on him with his best friend. Like, what the heck? Like,
see, that was actually like,
hey, slow down. That's episode 2, pal.
Well, they do the funeral in episode 1.
Did he get the funeral in episode 1?
Yeah.
They do that later on in the book. So your first taste when you open the book is Shadow getting out of prison, and then they do this coming to America thing. I'm not sure if it's after, but it might be after he meets Odin, so it might make a little more sense when you're.
It was after he met Odin, but like, and I had no problem with that. I'm like, this is our intro. Okay, I see what they're doing there. And then, like he said, we're watching Shadow Moon have to deal with being in prison and being released from prison. I'm like, okay, well, the story's moving forward, even though it's at like a snail's pace. This is slow. And then we get a scene, and this is the scene I had a problem with Vilquist. And I'm just like, this doesn't even belong in here. This is really disjointed. I guess this must be something huge in the book. This could be a big deal to a lot of people. I'm like, this is stupid. And like,
yeah, but it boiled down to a sex scene.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Like 45% in the book, I don't see anything more to it yet. Okay. So I'm just letting you know. So like, I think they're doing around 25% of the book a season. So you're looking at 4, maybe 5. Okay. And
that's cool.
Like I said, I'm almost halfway through the book, and I can't. If I wanted to give you insights about that, I can't.
Okay.
No, don't. Absolutely don't. But like, each scene we're going to have with Vilquist, I'm just going to be like, wow, I really wish I could hit fast forward right now. I have no interest in this god in particular. This is probably my least favorite character, next to the main character of Shadow Moon. I mean, one of the reasons I was able to stay in there, Mr. Wednesday, is that relation to Odin, but like, Ian McShane's doing a great job. He's like a modern day con artist. He conned his way to first class, and that's where they kind of met and stuff like that. I think it's a neat approach for an old god to be like, well, I'll do what I have to do here in America, and to get that done, I'm going to be a con artist about it to be able to get my way. And it kind of makes sense in the way you think about Odin, and the way he used the other gods and used other people and things like that, like as far as like the mythology went, and like how I don't know, it's neat. I like that they have him in there. Right. I really do.
Yeah, he doesn't kind of come off as like a stereotyped Odin where he's just like, oh, you're my bodyguard now, kill a bunch of people because I'm Odin. It's more like he puts a lot of thought into, and I think that's where people who may not, like, they just know Vikings is like the guys with the horned helmets. They may not know that like Odin was, at least in his mythology, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert in it. I enjoy it, but he was also like, I'm pretty sure he sacrificed his eye for like knowledge of everything. So he's a really smart dude, and that's how they're portraying him. A little wily, he's got a lot of charm. He was talking to Shadow at one point when they're driving. Yeah. Charm. I like the music in it too, just to kind of segue into talking about like positive things in the show. Like they played, it's kind of thematic to what's going on in the episode at that point. Like at one point they're driving down to their destination. This is in episode 2, but I'm pretty sure episode 1 they play like songs that are kind of loosely based on what they're talking about. So like
we'll have to get in the book as well. They mention stuff like that, like Patsy Cline's playing and stuff like that.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool that they even do that in the book. Yeah, that's a nice little spin on it. But that makes it even cooler that they transferred it from the book, because I imagine there's a lot of people who read it who are looking for the tie-ins and hoping they stay true to it. So
right. So we get back. So Shadow is going to he gets home, and he's going to his wife's funeral. Walks in, sees now it was her and his best friend Robbie who he also worked for, they were going to throw him a surprise party, and she told him about that in the prison cell. When we get to the funeral home, Robbie and his wife had died in a car crash together. We don't know why. We get there and we see Robbie's wife. She's a little bit pissed off, a little bit agitated.
Yeah.
And, Shadow doesn't know why, and find out, and I'll quote that.
Oh, I quote it.
Oh, here we go.
Your wife died with my husband's cock in her mouth.
Yeah.
And
oh my god.
Yeah, so dude, I'm weird with this type of stuff. Like, I watched Vampire Diaries, and I had to stop watching it because spoiler if you haven't watched it, Elena goes with Damon. Like, Damon spends like three seasons.
Slow down there, guy. This is the American Gods podcast. Right?
I'm just saying. But like, what I'm saying is that, like, that when I read something like that, I'm like, oh, like, already like this? Like, how am I going to read a whole book now? You know?
I know that's where, like, this first episode is tough. I mean, they are obviously trying to express a lot of things at once. And
no, I liked it.
Oh, you liked it? See,
yeah. I liked it, but I'm just like, God damn, like, where's this going to go? Because, you think you would. I understand, like, it's fast paced. Nason thinks it's slow, but I think it was fast paced because
glacial. Like, pace. That's how slow the first episode was. It was mind-numbingly boring. I thought I was going to fall asleep, but then I realized I had to watch more, and it was just like it turned into agony. You guys skipped over the Matt Sweeney scene.
Well, yeah, that was before the funeral, right?
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Because he meets him in the bar. Yeah, I'll let Bob do this because he's going to gripe on it even more.
Okay. Here's the questions I have. Why does Odin need a bodyguard? And more importantly, if Matt Sweeney's the 2,000 years old, because he was a ruler. Like, why does he need to get in the fight? Why does he even take damage? You know what I mean?
I think Odin knows something we don't about Shadow, because Shadow's seeing things.
Yeah, he is seeing stuff, and he thinks he's going crazy. I get that, but like, I like the bar scene. It was just like you mentioned the soundtrack. I was okay with some of the stuff they put in the soundtrack, but the music playing at like the bar made me feel like well, are you trying to? Is this a throwback to like Sin City? Like, I didn't like it, and like. Some of the score they use here is pretty good, but I think Brian Fuller's trying to recreate what he did with Hannibal with some of his imagery in the score, and it's not working because he didn't use the same guy. But he's trying to get something that is like this, which isn't bad. So we have this bar fight after Moon Shadow had to come up with a deal that he was okay with Mr. Wednesday, and they had to seal the deal with like 3 shots, and they did the first one, and he basically told him. Yeah, is that? I don't know.
Shots of mead. It's honey mead.
He kept ordering Moon Shadow. Like, what was it? Oh, it was like Captain and Coke. He gave it to him on the plane. He gave it to him there. I'm like, he keeps giving it. Does he even like that? We don't know. They still
in the book he does. He knows. In the book he gets him mead just like he does there. He gets Matt Sweeney, I think, to Jack and Coke, but on the plane, he does order his favorite drink, and he says, like, "Why? Like, how'd you know?" And he's like, "Oh, I just know."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
they have to do this deal. He says that he'll work for like $2,000 a week, but he won't hurt people for no reason or for profit. And that if Mr. Wednesday pisses him off, he's gonna quit. So they're okay with that. And then, like, I guess Matt Sweeney came over and started throwing coins at him, to which he's like, how you do that trick? I want to know how you did the trick. Like,
well, I think that's going to take a big place. Like, I'm a big fan of if like when I'm reading something like American Gods that has a lot of things going on in it, I like to look up the wiki page. I like to do this with TV shows too that have a lot of things going on with it. So when I finish a chapter, I'll read the wiki page on the chapter because they have like notes and trivia and things that I might have missed.
Yeah.
But they mention in the wiki that I'm reading with the book, they mention the coin tricks that are performed in each chapter. So I'm guessing it goes somewhere.
Oh yeah, it'll go somewhere. But like it was just like a small point to be able to make like, well, who cares how he does the trick? But then he starts to like insult Laura, and that's when the fight starts. And we actually never get to see the ending of the fight. So like that was a little disappointing. I mean, I don't know. I guess I was happy to be out of the bar scene after it was over. So we just transitioned over to the scene where he's back in the back of the car, And he's just like, and he's like, I'll drive now, but I'll never drive again. You blacked out at that bar for whatever reason, and maybe because of the fight.
Because of the mead.
Because of mead. He had blood on him, but he didn't have any cuts. Like I saw that they're starting to pay attention to that a little bit more. Like, yeah, you can bloody him up, but make sure there's like a cut there or a scab later on, so it makes sense. And he just doesn't like towel off his face, and he's fine. So they start to come up with a deal where you'll get to take all the time you'll be able to want to go square the things you have to square away at your home, but this will be the only time you ever get to do that. So take your time, because I'll go hang out in this hotel while you got to do this. And that's where we get the funeral scene. And right after the funeral scene, immediately he sees something that's like a wally or something like that in the field. He's just like walking on his own, and he goes to approach it, and it just clamps onto his face. And then he has a meeting with Technical Boy, I believe.
Technical Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, Technical Boy wants to know what is going on with Odin. Obviously, Shadow didn't know. And even if he kind of said, like, even if I didn't know, I still want to tell you. And so they go to basically hang him. Some unknown thing violently kills all the things that were set there by Technical Boy to kill him. And then I think the rope snaps and he falls, and he's kind of like in and out.
They're going that's something that I know, but from reading, but like they're doing it differently. The scene in the hotel, there was a big part in there that they quickly went through. Okay. And in the book there was a big part, and this scene, as I watch, I'll go into more what I've seen or any comparisons I can make. But what I've seen is like, this is like later, like he sees like Technical Boy again, and like I think that happens. I don't know if it happened in the first meeting, but yeah. So we get introduced to Technical Boy. So when I was introduced to this book, it was told to me that it's like old gods fighting new gods. And when I said, what's new gods? And they said like credit cards and television.
Yeah.
And I said, that sounds fucking stupid. And in my mind, I thought it was like inanimate objects, just like people worshiping them. And I didn't know that there was going to be real people for these things.
Yeah, yeah, like the embodiments, the personified.
Yeah. So when I found that out, I was like, and I started reading, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like they could take this in so many different directions. So yeah, so I'm pumped. I'm pumped for it. I enjoyed the first episode. It might be because I know some more context of what's going on. Maybe for the person that doesn't, it would seem a little disjointed and all around the place. But
see, I don't mind disjointed. I used to be a fan of David Lynch. I can watch his stuff, and his stuff has a lot of that parking lot topic left for interpretation. But some of these scenes just didn't need to be there. They're out of place. The pacing was way too slow. From someone who doesn't know anything about the book and is watching for the first time, the first episode was snail's pace, glacial pace. Like, if you can get past it, because I did watch episode 2, and I'd have to say the latter half of episode 2 was the part where I'm like, oh, this is good. As soon as you get the Chernobyl, it's pretty good. But we'll talk about that for episode 2, right?
Right. Did you not want to talk about the sex scene where people get sucked up in the vaginas?
Oh yeah,
right.
The controversial scene that they seem to have made a really big deal out of. Like, we did it. Like, it was a post show about the show, and they're like, "Oh, we did that scene," and I'm like, "Then what scene?" Like, it was a red light. He turned into a miniature version of himself while he was worshiping her while they were having sex, and then he kind of just became engulfed inside of her, and I was like,
there wasn't a miniature version. It was her getting big as fuck.
Okay, yeah. Either way, whether he became smaller and went in, or he stood the same size and she got like big as fuck and like went in. That's whatever. It didn't need to be there. I don't think you need to put sex into a show to be able to sell it or to make it cool. But like, you know, like a lot of these pay-per-view channels or like home box office stars, they like to put that in there because it's not.
That's not what it is, though. That's not what it is. They're just, I think, trying to please TV, and they're trying to please the diehard fans that have wanted this made since the book came out, and that's exactly how it's portrayed in the book. It's just boom, here it is, and now we're just gonna go back to Shadow. Like, That's exactly how it's portrayed.
It was the interruption in the story about learning about what was going on with Shadow. He was on the plane with Mr. Wednesday, and then bloop, this came on, and then bloop, right back into the story. And I was like, what?
That's exactly how it's portrayed.
Why are you wasting my time? But
So,
I don't know. So right now,
it's right in the beginning too, just like this. Like they went by the book, so I think they're just trying to please. Like people were probably, like we're talking about Stephen King movies and the bullshit that goes on in his books. And
or you are.
people are probably like, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? Oh shit!
No, it happened. It was there, but like I think my wife passed while I was on. She's like, what are you watching? And I'm like, I hear in your voice that you're about to judge me for what I'm watching, although I don't know what the scene is, and I didn't create any of it. But innately, this does look stupid from the uninitiated, and I am already into the story. I'm like, this is like, and I thought like maybe I'll get a different opinion in episode 2, but her scene was on in episode 2, and I just wanted to be like, fast forward. I don't care. Like, go back to like something that matters. And this might matter later on, but right now, like, yeah, Bilquist, least favorite character, nothing for me at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no context there right now. But like I said, I'm 45% in the book, and I can't give you anything.
I have a question. Was Mr. World in any of this? Because it's played by Crispin Glover, and like I didn't see him. I would have recognized him.
I haven't met him yet. Mr. World?
Yeah.
That's what it mentions in the wiki.
Unless I've met him in a under a different name.
I mean, there.
Is Technical Boy called Technical Boy in the book?
Yeah, I think so. Well, in the series, he is played by a guy named Bruce.
Oh, he's one of the new gods.
Yeah.
No. No, I haven't.
Because this book, you have to figure, this book was written it was published in 2001. Technology was very different then. I mean, even though it's only 17 years ago. I mean, what was happening around then? The .com bust, maybe it would have happened. I think that happened like late 90s or something.
Well,
so the internet wasn't nearly as big as it was.
Let's classify it by operating systems we were using at that time. Windows 98 Second Edition was stable as fuck, and there was we were dealing with the whole the Millennium rollover, right?
Yeah.
And then XP wasn't there yet.
That was a year after it, but.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember when Vista was coming out.
No, that was way later than God. That was terrible. Anyway, I can't remember whether this scene, it was actually in the first or second episode. He was talking to a guy at a diner, and he passed Shadow Moon, and his glasses flashed red. And immediately, since I'm already thinking about realms of gods, I'm like, that's a djinn. It's going to be a djinn. And I looked it up, and I found the character, and it is a djinn. And that's it's like a demon, basically.
Yeah, it's like a
medium, Islamic mythology.
Something like that, yeah.
So like I saw a horror movie called Jinn a long time ago, and that kind of introduced like the whole thing for me. And then I would look it up, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're going to bring this guy in. Obviously, he's on the side of Mr. Wednesday. So
yeah, well, I think that would be it for episode 1, unless you guys got anything more to say.
No, it's good
because we're bleeding into the next episode a little bit. So.
Introduction Technical Boy was really cool. He smoked like a frog or something.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, like if they had to portray the internet in like 15 seconds, he was a scrawny, weird-looking white kid who was
in the back of the limo, but it's part of the headgear.
Limo, saying weird things, doing weird things. I think they did that pretty accurate.
Was that his e-juice with the salamander?
Yeah, it was like a little vape. Yeah, it was, but it had a frog in it. Like, and then he's like blowing the smoke in Shadow Moon's face,
and all his like Matrix guards. They're all like kind of like faceless, like
yeah. And you know what? Technical Boy is a god. People worship technology. The internet is in its own weird way worshipped. I know that's like I'm 14 and this is deep, but I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, oh. This guy is the god of like the internet. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Because
later on, I mean, like that. Media,
despite all the weird scenes, like the Bilquist kind of shoehorning, the Mad Sweeney, like, oh, I'm Irish, so I'm gonna fight you.
I'm gonna brawl.
We're in a bar. I'm Irish. We gotta fight. It's just what we do. Apparently. He's a leprechaun.
In your bed.
He is. Yeah, he's like a god. I think I read he's like a god.
Coins at you. So you want to fight me?
Yeah, exactly. Like, look at my gold coins. Despite all that, though. I got the gist of it, and I was totally digging the fact that we get to see like tons of different gods and like mythological things. So hopefully in the next couple of episodes they get even more in depth. And I'm pretty sure at the end of episode 1, does Odin mention they're looking for his hammer?
No.
Was that
maybe in the car? I'm going to get my hammer, like that.
Yeah, I feel like that was towards the end of episode 1 too, wasn't it?
That was car ride stuff. It was either the beginning of episode 2 where he has the silly hat on. I'm like, take that hat off, Odin, please.
All right, well, that's the teaser for episode 2 then. If not,
Yeah.
We're talking about the hammer next episode. Tune in.
We are.
Yeah.
Smash the like button. You have to take over from here.
Smash the like button.
We're talking about
crap out of that like button.
If you enjoyed this episode, please smash the like button. Give us a subscribe, and we'll see you in episode 2 of the American Gods Season 1 podcast.
Do it for Odin.
Yeah.
Do it for Mr. Wednesday.
Matthew McConaughey.
Wotan.